On paper, UFC Vegas 92 was one of the better Apex cards this year. And for the most part, I do think it delivered. We had a couple of upsets. We had a prospect that may actually live up to the hype. And we had a changing of the guard in the main event. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks. And I'm going to recap what I saw at UFC Vegas 92. And I'm saying what I saw because I didn't get to watch the whole event for two reasons. One, we had a little bit of a graduation party at the house. My youngest has graduated from preschool and will be going to kindergarten. A whole bunch of the kids in her class were friends with the family, so we said, you know what? Let's do a little party at the house, a little graduation party. So we did. And about halfway through the party, my wife says, it is 79 degrees upstairs. And that's because the air conditioning went out. And these things never go out on a Wednesday at noon. They never go out on a Monday morning where you can call a tech and there's plenty. No, it is always on the weekend. It's always when people are over, and it's always after hours. I called every HVAC company that would answer the phone. Oh, 24/7, 24/7. So I'm calling, hey, you guys are 24/7. Anybody can come out today? Oh, no, we can come out tomorrow. Well, it's 80 degrees upstairs now. And the upstairs is where the kids' bedrooms are. These are my neighbors. These are the people that were at the party. And a few of them were like, let's just take a look. One of these gentlemen had the exact same issue a few weeks ago. And one of his neighbors had a capacitor. And he's like, it's just a couple of plugs. We could do this. And then we called around. One of them knew a guy who had a capacitor. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody figured it out. We got a capacitor from the neighbor, 3/4 drunk. Got a capacitor from a different neighbor. Threw it in. And I have air conditioning. This was the win of all wins. If you guys know, if you have a house, you have an air conditioner, first of all, the biggest scam that's running today is the HVAC tech showing up. This house was built in 2012. We're going to have to replace the whole thing. It's never just the $30 part that we swapped out that immediately fixed the problem. It's always replace the whole unit. This was the win of the century. So I appreciate these guys. But I also didn't get to watch every single fight. So I'm going to recap what I was able to see. And I am going to be nice and cool while doing it. Let's take a look at the bets. I only put 4 bets on the board this week, and I hit 3 of them. I hit 3 out of 4. I'm up a little bit of money, 8% ROI. Nothing crazy. It's not going to pay my mortgage. It certainly wouldn't have paid for an HVAC repairman. But I'm up money, and things went well for the most part. The only single bet I lost was half of a parlay where Angela Hill actually finished somebody. Never happened before, never happened again. That was insane. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the Temba Garimbo bet, I felt very good about that one. Got some good odds. The Oumar Sy Abus, that was a parlay. Omar's original opponent, Oumar dropped, so you got to pay a little bit of extra money there. It was in a boost money line. Felt good about that. And then Oumar Sy and Tom Nolan, also felt good about that one. 3 out of 4 bets, up a little bit of money. 8% ROI. We've had better nights. We've had worse nights. I'll take a win any day of the week, and I'll leave it a little extra money in my pocket. No problem. I'm not going to argue with this. I wasn't the only one that did well, though. Premium members did quite well also. What you're looking at here is a video of our Discord. We have a free Discord. The Discord is 100% free to join. You hop in the Discord, you can chat. There are some private channels. One of those private channels is something called Winning Tickets. Anybody can view it, but the only people that can post in it are premium members. So they share their winning tickets. And I tallied up about $10,000 in winnings from last night from premium members. So it looked like some people had quite a bit of success. And a lot of that had to do with Jacob's underdog lock of the week. We'll talk about that fight, and we'll talk about some others as well. But I was up a couple of bucks. The rest of the premium members looked like they did pretty well. Obviously, everybody had different bets, different insight, some mixed match type stuff going on, but overall seemed to be a decent night for most people. We also had the best DraftKings ownership projections on the planet. Again, this is something that we are very proud of. I literally have somebody doing wild calculations to come up with these numbers. If you play DraftKings Fantasy, you know how wildly important these numbers are. And look at the margin. We're far right. WWP is us, 4.01% margin of error. And once you compare that across the board, we've done quite well for ourselves. And this is included in everything that we do. So you're not even paying any more for the best numbers in the game. If you do want to unlock these numbers for UFC 302, which is the next event, WeWantPicks.com, click become it's freaking $10. Click become a member at the top. Let's talk about the fights. As I mentioned, I was not able to watch all of them. But let's talk about the ones I was able to watch. Vanessa Demopoulos is a dog. And I said this the whole week. I was like, I don't understand. A 3-1 favorite is crazy. How is Vanessa Demopoulos a 3-1 dog? And I get that Emily Ducote is good and busy and all of those things. I understand every piece of that. But Vanessa Demopoulos is a dog, will stay in your face, and will make something happen. And this is just a reminder that MMA fights for women are always close fights. These are always close fights. And there are some spots on UFC 302 where we have these same wide odds, 3-1 type odds, and betting 3.5 on the dog is going to be the way to go. You could almost take any female MMA fight where there's a 2-1, 3-1 type line and do a plus 3.5 on the underdog. The plus 3.5 means you're buying points on the judge's scorecard. And as long as the fight goes the distance, in all likelihood, they'll probably win a round. And Vanessa Demopoulos, I felt like she was getting disrespected the whole time. I thought Emily Ducote would win. But I was very clear in the video, I'm not betting on her, not at these odds, and Vanessa Demopoulos could absolutely win this fight because she will move forward, stay in your face, and she is a dog, and she will fight like a dog, and that's what she did. So good for Vanessa. A little bit of a setback for Emily Ducote, and she's just got to pick up the volume. She's got to land with a little more intent. She is typically the bigger, stronger fighter in the cage, but doesn't use that. And when you're bigger and you're stronger, but you're not faster, why are you not fighting like a bully? You should be fighting like a bully. Bully these women. Don't try to be faster than women who are much faster than you. So either way, that was actually a decent fight and good for Vanessa for pulling off as a 3-1 underdog. I also mentioned with Alatengheili, he's either going to strike or he's going to wrestle. He can't do both things. And in this fight, it was Haley Nurmagomedov. He won this fight with the control time. Vegas hates wrestlers. But at a certain point, you have so much control time that you can't avoid. It is unavoidable. I think this was one of 3 punches thrown in the fight. This was 90% wrestling, and it was Haley Alatengheili getting it done. He got the takedowns. Kleydson couldn't get back up, and it was literally that straightforward. It was that simple. And this is mixed martial arts. I am not a fan of Vegas hating control time and hating wrestlers. In my mind, I'm of the Joe Rogan mindset. Where, yeah, it might not be the most exciting thing to watch when somebody's being held down, but figure out how to get up. I mean, it's mixed martial arts. If you're getting pieced up on the feet and you're getting outstruck, they don't say, whoa, separate. You're doing too well at this one thing. But if you're taking somebody down and you're holding them down, whoa, you're doing too well at this one thing. It's not pleasing on the eyes. Haley Alatengheili didn't come in here and then put on a show. He was definitely not in the running for a performance of the night bonus, but he went out there within the rule set, used a very obvious, well-known skill of wrestling and dominated this fight. I will never understand, and obviously you'll get some guys that are just so next level in their wrestling that you're just never going to be able to catch up. That's fine. But that's not who Haley Alatengheili is. Sometimes he wrestles. And I'll never understand people that can be as talented as Kleydson Rodrigues, as dangerous as he is on his feet, as good as he is. He's got good jiu-jitsu. I'll never understand people that are good at all of those things, but can't really defend takedowns, can't stand up on bottom. And if you're fighting Jordan Burroughs, got it. It is what it is. Islam, it is what it is. But for Haley Alatengheili to take you down when he wants, basically, and hold you there, that's tough. That is a tough outing. Good for Haley. He made the right decisions. He'll come in here and he'll swing wild sometimes. He'll come in here and not do what he's supposed to do. But he went in there. He was like, I need to wrestle. And he wrestled, and he got it done. So good for Haley. Another step back for Kleydson Rodrigues, who talent-wise is a prospect. But the actual execution of that talent, there's a lot of things that he's got to figure out. And the problem with losses like this is every opponent from that point forward is like, oh, just take him down. Just take him down, and you'll be fine. That's all you got to do. Take this dude down, we'll be fine. Here's our game plan. Here's our camp. Just wrestle, and then you'll be good to go. So good for Haley. Kleydson, go to wrestling camp. Just chill at wrestling camp for months and months and months on end. There should not be a big enough hole to hold you back. Now we have Jacob's underdog lock of the week, and it hit. This is a picture of Ariane Carnelossi quitting. I mean, she's quitting. She quit. Ooh, a headbutt. Ooh, she quit. I mean, that's what this was. But before we railroad her for quitting, she was allowed to quit. I mean, those were very clear, intentional headbutts. Now, if she quit like this with an accidental eye poke, an accidental Clash of the Skulls. I mean, listen, guys, I'm on Struggle Bus, by the way. I mean, that was the party yesterday, yes, was for preschoolers, but there was many gallons of alcohol available. So I'm on a little bit of Struggle Bus here. I should have quit last night. But instead, Ariane Carnelossi quit. But where I was going with that is she's allowed to quit. You get blatantly headbutted in the face twice, not standing, on the ground, just wa-boom, wa-boom, back to back like that. That's it. The ref even said, watch the headbutt, don't headbutt, boom. Okay. Well, now you're separated, you're going to lose a point. And Ariane, you take your win. Take your win. I don't have a problem with it. Where I have a problem with it, if it's accidental. Because then the losing fighter is kind of fucked. That's where it sucks. But in this case, Pinheiro Rodrigues did this to herself. She did this to herself. There was a choice. You chose to headbutt her. You knew it was illegal. You did it more than once, and you lost the fight because of it. That is your fault. Those are the consequences you have to deal with. Is Ariane Carnelossi good? No, she sucks. She's terrible. She's not good. Another one that can't defend a takedown. How are you that jacked and you can't defend a takedown? And I get it. There's skill involved. But again, Pinheiro Rodrigues isn't a Magomedov. She just wrestles sometimes. So Ariane Carnelossi, takeaway is, sucks. Other takeaway is, quit. And the other takeaway is, she's well within her rights to quit, and I'm not going to railroad her for that. She was headbutted illegally. And if Anthony Smith went this route, he'd be world champion. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch his fight with John Jones. Either way, Ariane Carnelossi, good for her, got the win. Somebody does something illegal to you, fine. Because you know what? If it was reversed and she was winning this fight, let's say she was winning this fight, and then she got headbutted illegally twice, and the ref separated them, took the point away, did all of that, but she still wasn't with it, but like, let me prove how tough I am, and then she got finished, nobody's going to care that she was illegally headbutt. So I'm fine with her quitting, and frankly, this is their livelihood. You guys know they make twice as much money in a win than a loss. She'll get, I'm making up a number here, she'll get $10,000 to show up, to walk into the octagon. Here's 10 grand. And then if she wins, she gets another 10. You get a win bonus. So she wanted to be I'll never quit. That's not who I am. She makes half the money. She might not fight again she just hasn't fought in 2 years. Probably scraping by. I don't know how she was earning a living for 2 years. Not going to fight again for who knows how long. So yeah, it is what it is. Her opponent chose to break the rules and suffered the consequences because of it. But Ariane Carnelossi sucks. And then Abus added the Nurma to the Madoff. Nurmag. Added the Nurmag to the Madoff. Abus Magomedov. No, it was Magomedov. Here we go. Abus added the Nur to the Magomedov. I got it. I'll edit out the other piece, and then they'll be like, wow, smooth segue from this guy. And this is what I said was going to happen for the most part. That Warlley's going to come forward, all gas. Abus is not going to like it, and he's going to wrestle. And there was some striking in here. This wasn't only a wrestling match. But Abus did what he was supposed to do. Avoid the danger. I've been chinned before. Sean Strickland did it. Warlley Alves can do it. I've been chinned before. Let me fight smart. I just need a win. Because if I lose another one, I'm a huge bust, and they're firing my ass. I just need a win. And that's exactly what he did. Warlley's tough. Warlley came forward, and Abus was like, let me wrestle. And that's fine. Again, was this the most exciting fight? No. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get the win. I mentioned, you get twice as much money in a win than a loss. And sometimes you just need to do what you have to do to get a win. And the pay structure is designed that way to try to force them to fight. Right? It's designed that way to say, hey, you'll make twice as much money if you win. So you both better go out there and fight your asses off because you're fighting for more money. And that happens, right? But what also happens sometimes is people coast to get the win. I just need to win. I just need to win. Let me lay on top of him. I just need to win. So it works for you, works against you, depends on the fighter, obviously. But Abus did what he needed to do to win the fight. It was very straightforward. His striking looked good. The wrestling looked good. Good for him. This is what he needed to do. He needed to beat a guy at this age, like that much lower than him as far as overall technique is concerned. So Abus got the win. He's not exciting. I still don't think he's that guy. I still don't think he's the guy that they tried to tell us he was. But his only 2 losses in the UFC are to high-ranked opponents. Former UFC champion Sean Strickland, maybe future champion or future title challenger Caio Borralho, and then he fights a step down, beats him. His first fight in the UFC, a step down, beats him. So we don't quite know where Abus is just yet, but he is beating the people he's supposed to beat, and he's lost to 2 top 5 people. So he's not terrible. I don't think he's quite that guy just yet, but a couple more performances, even if they're a little boring, a couple more wins, all of a sudden he might be worth a look. Now let's talk about Oumar Sy. He can do all the things. This guy is a beast. This guy has incredible striking, incredible power, explosive actions. He's athletic, all of those things. We knew all of those things. We knew those things. But he can wrestle as well. He fought a grappler, and he out-grappled him. And that's incredible. And you love to see it. This is a guy that I'm very high on. Obviously, I didn't know who he was until he was booked for this fight. And then you do all the research, and you're like, wow, this guy's good. He's got 9 fights, 7 finishes, but 2 decisions. So he does have cardio. He can go. Look how explosive he is. Look at all the stuff he can do. And then he comes in here and he wrestles. And I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Because I don't want these prospects to come in here, only do the same thing 4 fights in a row, and then get exposed when they make a UFC debut because they've been knocking people out in 5 seconds. And now they fought somebody that they can't knock out in 5 seconds. But Oumar Sy is very good. I'm curious to see how good. I'm curious to see what they do for him next. I think they should give him the same path that they've been giving Caio Borralho. Caio Borralho has had a steady increase in opponent. Right? They're taking this guy, and then here's somebody a little tougher than your last opponent. Here's somebody a little tougher than that last opponent. And they're steadily working him up. Abus, who we just talked about, had 1 win, and they're like, here's Sean Strickland in a main event. And look what happened. 2 losses in a row, and now he's wrestling. So I think Oumar Sy, let him be him. Let him grow. Let him evolve. He's not old. There's no reason to rush him. Give him somebody that's a little tougher than this guy. And then the next fight, a little tougher than that guy. And work away. Let him get 5, 6 wins in a row. Let people start clamoring for a bigger fight. I would rather him win and people complain, oh, he's fighting bums, than rush him and then he loses and then there goes your prospect. As much as we all love the UFC and as much as those matchmakers are geniuses and they know how to build stars, for the most part, the star building is couple of good wins, and then some insanely well-edited footage and narratives. And then they put him in a big fight, bust, flat. So build him up. Do what you're doing with Caio. Build him up. Let him get 5, 6, 7. I don't care. I would rather him have a bunch of wins and not be tested, right? Not fight in a main event or a co-main event of a fight night against a ranked opponent. I'd rather him not do that and get a bunch of wins than rush that, have him lose, and be like, oh, he can work his way back. Because sometimes these guys lose and they don't get their confidence back, and there's still some holes, and there's still some gaps, and they're just never quite there again. So I love this win. I love that he wrestled. I love everything about this dude, and I hope he gets a couple of quality wins before they really start rushing him and pushing him and like, oh, we're in Paris this summer, so guess who's the co-main event, and it's against a huge name. No. Take your time, do it the right way. Look what happened to Vitor Petrino. Couple of decent wins, and they were kind of doing the right thing, right? He had 3 wins, I think, in the UFC. Couple of decent wins, and then the jump, like boom, here's a former title challenger, and then submitted. Either way, Oumar Sy might be the real deal. I'm looking forward to his next couple of fights and seeing what he can do next. I didn't watch this fight. I'll tell you right now, I did not watch this fight. This was peak. The air conditioner broke, so I did not watch this fight. But I obviously saw the result. The only bet I lost on this card was half of a parlay, and the half of the parlay was over 2.5 rounds in this fight. And Angelo Hill doesn't finish people. So this seemed like a guarantee. It seemed like a lock, which is why I bet on it. I ended up money on the night, but it would have been a perfect night if this fight went a little longer. And what's insanely frustrating here is if you get finished by Angelo Hill, you're bad at your job. You're bad at your job. I think most of us thought Angelo Hill was going to win. She's the better fighter. She's got great striking, pitter-patter, in and out, all the things, but she's not dangerous. Luana Pinheiro got finished by Angelo Hill. This is her job. Her job is to go in there and fist fight. And you can't win them all, but you got to be a little better than baseball averages, right? If a hitter in baseball hits the ball 30% of the time, 33% of the time, they do their job 1/3 of the time. Incredible. All-time Hall of Fame. That's not MMA. You got to come in here and you got to do your job more times than not. And Luana Pinheiro is bad at her job. If she was a car salesman and she went in here and somebody said, here, sell this $80,000 car, sell it for 20 grand, and she couldn't sell it, she sucks at her job. If she came in here and she fought a 40-year-old who can't finish anybody, and they said, just survive, just don't get finished, and she couldn't, she's bad at her job. I didn't watch this fight. And I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been furious. Getting finished by Angelo Hill is unforgivable. And there's a big gap between the Angelo Hill fight and the Adrian Yanez fight. I missed, that was the chunk of, it's hot upstairs. This is going to be $10,000. Thank God for the neighbors. But Adrian Yanez, he's back, right? And I was worried about him coming into this fight because I was worried about what is his confidence. The guy just lost 2 in a row, got finished 2 fights in a row. What does his confidence look like? He is fighting a guy that was coming up in weight, but a well-rounded, tough, durable guy. And I was concerned that Yanez wouldn't have that flow state striking. In his UFC career, he has only won 1 single first round. He's only ever won 1 single first round in the UFC. He's a slow starter who gives up the first round, and then he's playing catch up and hopefully finishes you. He's got some of the cleanest, crispest boxing in this division, but it's only boxing. There's not really other skills there. And I'm sure he has them. I'm sure he's trained them. I'm sure he can do all the things. It's mixed martial arts, and he's a very good fighter. But we've never seen him offensively wrestle. We've never seen him work in his jiu-jitsu. We've never seen him light somebody's legs up with kicks. We've just seen him have incredibly clean, crisp boxing. So I was worried about him coming into this. I was like, man, a 2-1 favorite, almost a 3-1 favorite. Coming off 2 finished losses in a row. Fighting a durable guy. Only going to strike for the most part. I'm worried about this. But he went in there, first round, got it done. The striking looked clean. The confidence was still there. So good for Adrian Yanez. Good for him. And maybe those setbacks were what he needed. I mean, you never need to get knocked out by Rob Font. But maybe it helped him and refocused him, retooled him, whatever it is. But he looked pretty good here. I get it. He's fighting a guy that was also coming off 2 losses, going up in weight. It's not the greatest win on paper, but it is good to see somebody hit a little bit of a skid, be able to come back, and he didn't win a boring wrestling match. He didn't change who he is as a fighter, because we've seen that before. We've seen fighters just completely change who they are just to get a win. Mark Ducote is a great example. I'm going back a little bit, but Mark Ducote is a great example. He was a kickboxer, a very good striker, all those things. And then he fought Vyacheslav Borshev, a better kickboxer, and he turned into a wrestler. 100 take just turned into changed who he was as a fighter. And he got the win, but he was never the same after that. He literally changed his entire fighting style. And since then, very spotty, doesn't know if he wants to strike, doesn't know if he wants to wrestle. Adrian Yanez could have done that. I just need to get a win. I need to get back in the win column. But he stayed true to who he was, used his skill sets, stayed within that, and got it done that way. So good for Yanez. He is an exciting guy. He does have some of the cleanest boxing in the division. But at a certain point, we're going to need to see other tools, because I don't think you can work your way up the ladder only with clean boxing. And then we got the main event. And yes, Lerone Murphy looked good. He looked good. He was busy. He was clean. He was moving forward, did all the things. But Barboza also looked very old. First of all, I was surprised at how big Barboza looked 2 weight classes above Lerone Murphy. It's crazy how much bigger this guy is. And at 38 years old, to cut all of that weight, do all of that, he probably needs to move up in weight. He's cutting too much weight. You could see it in this fight. He looked slower in this fight than previous fights. So he should move up in weight. But I'm not trying to take anything away from Lerone Murphy. He did what he was supposed to do. His first main event. His first highly ranked opponent. This was the most skilled person he has ever fought ever. A lot of firsts in this fight. A lot of obstacles to overcome. A lot of fears, concern, all of that. He didn't look rattled. And it wasn't a destruction, right? Edson Barboza had moments of success here. Notably, I think it was the first round where Edson was on his back, threw up that sort of axe kick from his back, cracked Lerone Murphy, and Lerone looked like he sort of stumbled a little bit. And the round was over and he went to his corner, but he didn't look 100%, but he worked through it, came forward, stuck with the game plan. Let me strike. Let me try to work in a takedown. Let me do all of those things. So Lerone Murphy is very good. I'm curious to see what they have next for him because he's now, 14-0, just beat a highly ranked guy in a main event and looked pretty good doing it. Curious to see what happens for Lerone Murphy next. Guys, those are the fights that I saw. So those are the ones I'm going to recap for you. UFC 302 is the next event. And on pay-per-views, we typically do very, very well. So if you want to unlock the picks, the bets, the round line leans, and everything else for UFC 302, you can do that now. It's only $10 a month. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. Safety Parlay is 5-2 this year. 5-2 this year for pay-per-views. 26% ROI on that alone. Almost 8 units of net profit on pay-per-views this year. 12% ROI on everything we do this year for pay-per-views. Unlock all of that now. You will also get the tools like the line movement tracker. This is up right now for UFC 302. It's going to give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every single fighter. And you can monitor that from now till the event. Hop in or avoid some bets depending on that movement. And you're also going to get the detailed data, metrics, and analytics. 38 columns of information that you can use to find your spots, avoid others. This, picks from other people, picks from me, Jacob, our bets, everything that we do is only $10 a month, one single package. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top.